King Charles III picked produce from an urban farm and presented it to a hospital chef as he learned about a Kenyan project that has given new life to waste ground, also home to giant snails whose slime is used in women's beauty products. The monarch pulled out spinach, kale and curly kale leaves from the ground after he was given a guided tour of City Shamba, a city farm initiative in Nairobi. It came amid the pomp and ceremony of the first full day of Charles' highly symbolic state visit to Kenya, which began with a visit to a monument and fig tree celebrating the African nation's independence from Britain. The royal couple met local children, including groups taking part in the Prince's Trust International Enterprise Challenge. Charles also visited entrepreneurs during a visit to a tech and innovation showcase in the Kenyan capital, where he also admired a portrait of his wife Queen Camilla. He looked excited as he walked a large patch of land behind Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital that has been transformed in just 12 months into a thriving organic holding, producing a wide range of vegetables and herbs and also chickens, with 2 ponds to raise fish and snails. Hospital chef Nelly Nyaji, who was handed a basket of vegetables leaves with the final few picked by the king, said afterwards, "He asked if this was for the patients and I told him it was." Having this organic food available is very good for their recovery. The king was also shown a selection of large African land snails bred by staff at the farm and laughed when told by Gregory Kimani, City Shamba's founder and chief executive officer, the slime is used by the beauty industry for women's facial products. Charles marveled at the larvae of black soldier flies used to turn vegetable waste into fertilizer, and seemed impressed by the farm's use of natural pesticides, including rabbit urine, and vertical planting. For a brief moment, he popped into a polytunnel where roasting temperatures are helping to ripen tomatoes. Mr. Kimani said after the royal visit, "Taking the king around the farm means that our idea is something that can go out there and it can be accepted anywhere by anyone. So we are very much glad for the validation of the idea. Growing our crops organically was a huge thing for him. He really liked the idea of how we are growing things and really taking back control of our own food system." Today will end with a state banquet in the King and Queen's honor, where Charles will give a speech to guests including prominent Kenyans and UK figures. He is expected to acknowledge the more painful aspects of Britain's colonial relationship with Kenya, including atrocities and the execution of 1,000+ people perpetuated during the Mau Mau Rebellion, when he gives a return toast at the banquet. But Charles is unable to offer an official apology, despite calls by activists who also want Britain to pay further damages over human rights abuses dating back to the 1950s. This is because he is visiting at the request of the British government which, while having already paid out nearly £20 million in compensation, has not apologised. Wire the king laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown warrior at Uhuru Gardens on the outskirts of Nairobi on a trip dominated by Kenya's colonial past. Charles, who has been accompanied by Queen Camilla, then walked to the mugomo tree. The fig tree marks the spot where, on the night of December 12, 1963, Kenya celebrated its independence by lowering the Union flag and raising the flag of Kenya. It is viewed as modern Kenya's birthplace. The king and queen were told how a fig tree planted to mark the moment Kenyan independence was declared was considered a shrine and a memory of the country's turbulent history. They were also warned that no one must take cuttings from it, and those who did were struck by lightning and died. Their Majesties visited Nairobi's Uhuru Gardens, where the king unveiled a plaque and laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown warrior. The couple then viewed the mugomo tree, planted on the day Kenya declared its independence. Uhuru, in Kiswahili, means freedom. The king and queen listened intently as Samson Malaki, curator at the nearby Mashujaa Museum, which tells the story of Kenya's history, explained the tree's significance. It is a tree that marks our history, he said. This tree is not just a historic landmark, but it is a shrine. This country was planted as a result of what we went through as a country, as a memory, as far as this country is concerned.